We are living in one world. We don't have two. There is no world for religious groups. There is no world for government. There is no world for business people. There is no world for civil society. It is one world we are sharing in common. Then we should manage it collectively.
Evaluating the Millennium Development Goals, how far have we advanced?
The world has not really moved very far toward achievements of most of the development goals. We have made some achievements in percentages, but not in absolute numbers in many cases. So they were good in terms of directing activities and moving us in the right direction, but quite honestly, I don't think we've moved very far.
I think we are world apart in the achievements of the Millennium Development Goals. Africa is far from achieving all the goals, although there's been a lot of improvement on the treatment of malaria and HIV and AIDS. But when it comes to women empowerment, there is a lot to be done.
What we want to have is different, very much different, because the existing goal is more or less focusing on survival, not really to look at the sustainable developments for the world.
We've made progress in combating absolute extreme poverty. We haven't gotten any further in combating inequality.
A post-2015 global agenda, how would that ideally look like, and what actions have to be taken now?
From my country perspective, I'm from Georgia, I think that still we need to work a lot. I think that civil society and government have to cooperate and make a difference.
A post-2015 development agenda should not be a corporate or a donor-driven agenda. We need to tackle the structural issues and impediments of development from a South perspective. This means that we need to change the finance, the trade and investment rules that now are really promoting profits instead of human rights.
Any targets chosen, they have to be consistent with human rights laws and standards that are already there. So there's a requirement of consistency. The second one is there's a big requirement around accountability that these targets are met. The third one is about ensuring that there is the right to information and the right to participation.
The major indicator could be the human rights, could be the inequalities, could be the democracy, and these some very important indicators should play the role for sustainable development, environment friendly, gender justice.
You can't talk about equality and social justice and human rights without equal attention to gender justice, to economic justice, to ecological justice and to erotic justice. That's really our key messages. Without any of those dimensions in place, women, men, girls, boys, trans people around the world cannot have a life lived well and lived whole.
For me, for post-2015 agenda, we have to put a special look to migrants. Most of the time, you see that they say that migrants are undocumented. You see that migrants don't have rights like citizens in the same country, but they are human beings. You can't say for human beings that they have not a paper, a document. It's not true. It's not true.
We don't have to focus on the poor, we have to focus on the rich. And to focus on the rich means that we have to redistribute wealth, and then that we have to reinforce taxing systems that are in favor of social well-being and not in favor of accumulating wealth.
How can civil society play a greater role to make a real difference?
We experienced that civil society organizations were least involved, and the civil society organization also did not play their actual role, and that is why we see we are lagging behind.
The role of civil society cannot be overemphasized, but I think civil society needed lots of support from development partners, capacity building.
Civil society is to push governments and other sectors of the society into a more critical position.
I think now everyone should go to his own country and do lobbying advocacy with its own government to walk through the post-2015 agenda. And I think that the voice of the civil society should be heard at the UN level and more on the international level, and we should be, maybe we should do revolution like now we are doing in our area for the post-2015. Who knows, maybe it will be one of the actions, but I think we should really advocate and lobby among our governments.
A new development framework, a dream, vision or hope?
Well, my hope is that the post-2015 agenda actually furthers human rights for all, and people feel that their rights are respected, they're protected, and they're fulfilled. If we can achieve that, if we can go in, that's my dream.
My hope for a post-2015 agenda is that it reflects the voices of citizens, their aspirations, their reflections, their background, what they've put into the process.
I belong to the Mayas. We say, we ask of the Great Spirit to help us create a society that will allow for all of us and our great-grandchildren to have meaningful, good, and useful existence.
I would love to have all the human rights framework implemented and received by governments and people as our dreams to build a new world, better world for all, men, women, and everybody in this planet, including nature.
Developed, rich countries consume must be changed, because by the time you ask Rwanda, Uganda, Congo, Burundi, Nigeria to live like Germany, the world can't afford it. The world will not have enough resources for such consumption style. So the new 2015, beyond 2015 global goals will demand efforts from both the developing and the developed. We should meet somewhere in between for one world in which we are living to be sustainable.